We be live. Okay, guys, two Israelis just got shot last night in DC. I'm going to quickly tell you what just happened by somebody. They got shot by somebody shouting "Free, free Palestine." I'm really going to quickly go over the main points, and then we're going to go look at the main discussions people are having about this on X, and we're going to be responding to it together. So let's just bear with me while I know most of you already know what happened, but just bear with me while I quickly go through what we know, and then I'm going to review the main discussions. Okay. So yesterday, two Israeli citizens. Their name, guys. How's my audio? Make sure you like the stream. Make sure you like the stream. I need more people to see this because we here are basically trying to stand up against all this dangerous idea spreading in the West, and I need your help to be able to make this channel stronger. Okay, so again, a lot of the things that are happening are unfortunately exactly the things that we thought is going to happen after spreading this Islamist leftist poison in the West. And again, here we are, unfortunately. So yesterday, two Israeli citizens, their name were Yaron. Again, I'm hard. These are hard to pronounce. Sorry in advance. Yaron Lischinsky, 33, and Sarah Lynn Milgrim, 31. Both Israeli Americans in D.C., both Jewish. They were engaged. They were shot and killed outside the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. They were both junior aides working at the Israeli embassy and were also a couple. They were about to get engaged. The guy actually bought a ring and was about to propose. The attacker shouted "Free, free Palestine," and they also wanted to move to Israel. As their family were nervous about the security in Israel, and again, this shows that Jews are not as safe anywhere in the world. Israel actually could provide the best security, and this is again another reason why Zionism makes sense. Because Jews are not safe anywhere around the world. Like if you're one of those people who think like, oh, the security is less in Israel, Israel is where Jews can unite to defend themselves. So where did this happen? This happened near the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C., outside the Capitol Jewish Museum, where the victims had just attended an event discussing the Gaza war. Who is the shooter? And guys, the shooter is not a Muslim. The shooter is a leftist, which also shows this poison that we're dealing with is not just Islamic in nature, it's also leftist in nature. And that's why I told you here on this channel many, many times that the three greatest ideologies that threaten the world right now is 1, Islam, 2, Marxism, and 3, wokeism. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Ayatollah Madakafi, for being here in the chat. Thank you. I appreciate that. I didn't think anybody would come on such short notice. I appreciate you being here to start the comments that you want me to read. I appreciate that. All right. So let me actually. So the shooter was a 30-year-old man named Elias Rodriguez from Chicago. He had no criminal record before this. He used a 9mm pistol, which was recovered at the scene. He is now in police custody. And why did he do it? So while the full motive is still being investigated, I mean, he did shout "Free, free Palestine." I will show you the video where he "Free, free Palestine." By the way, guys, the "Free, free Palestine" is basically now the Allahu Akbar of leftists. That's what it is. So he shouted slogans supporting Palestine, just as "Free Palestine." Yeah, the whole. And whenever you hear "Free Palestine," that is now a terrorist symbol. The Palestinian flag is a symbol for terrorism, and "Free Palestine" is a terrorist supporting chant. So this is what we said before, and this is what we will continue to say. Again, I support the so-called Palestinian people. I don't even recognize the Palestinian identity. The basically the people living in Gaza and West Bank, I want the best for them. But the Palestinian cause is now a complete, I mean, not just now, but it's completely pro-terrorism. It's not a pro-Palestinian movement. I mean, the people who want the best for the people living in Gaza and West Bank, the best for people in Gaza and West Bank is to support Israel, because it's basically attacking the main source of their suffering, which is Hamas. But the pro-Palestinian cause is not good for anybody, including the people living in Gaza and West Bank. And anybody saying free Palestine is basically, in my opinion, right now, let me know what you think, is now a supporter of terrorism, right? Not the supporter of the so-called Palestinian people. He shouted slogans supporting Palestine, such as Free Palestine. His social media had pro-Hamas content. Surprise, surprise. Again, not a Muslim, but he has pro-Hamas content on his social media. He had recently attended an anti-Israeli protest. Yeah, anti-Israeli protests are pro-terrorism protests. Oh, Amir is here as well. Yes, Amir saying, don't forget to like the stream. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you to the admins. So obviously a hate crime and definitely terrorism. So authorities are checking if the shooter was part of any group. Apparently, so far we don't. It seems like he did it. It's a lone wolf, which makes it a lot more dangerous because they're harder to stop. And guys, unfortunately, I think this is just the beginning. And again, it's very interesting how these anti-Zionist people are confirming why we need Zionism. I mean, if you want Jews outside of Israel, then attacking Jews outside of Israel is only going to confirm why Jews need to be in Israel. Like, if you're anti-Zionism, shouldn't you want the Jews outside of Israel to have the best and more secure life so that you encourage more Jews to leave Israel? I mean, if you attack Jews outside of Israel, you're going to encourage Jews to go into Israel. I don't like, anyways. I mean, he's a terrorist. I'm not. Why am I looking for logic here? He will likely face federal hate crime charges or terrorism charges. His court appearance is expected around Friday, May 23rd. Oh, okay. Sooner than I thought. Anyways, now that we're all on the same page, I mean, you guys probably, most people here in the chat already knew this. Yeah, exactly. Joe in the chat is saying you can't use logic on this. But let me actually go through the main conversations people are having. I'm going to, again, these are the main ones that I wanted to show you guys. And you can see why. Noah posting a very powerful and correct take here, saying, make no mistake, if you screamed Free Palestine, you helped pull the trigger. I don't see anything wrong with this statement. I completely agree. I completely agree. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. Again, Ayatollah Mother Coffee is starting your comments. By the way, Ayatollah Mother Coffee, your name doesn't make sense on the English stream. Maybe you should, like, because on the Persian stream, people know why you picked that name, but here people might be confused. So we need to talk about your username, but it's okay. So hold on, let me see. The Purple Pop in the chat is saying the most ironic thing, if true, please confirm, Armin, that it was one on an event about the humanitarian situation in Gaza. It was about the situation in Gaza. I don't know the nature of the event. I don't know the nature of the event. Let me actually, I could check. So let me see quickly. The most was the event they were attending about the humanitarian situation in Gaza? So I could double check that for you guys. Good question. But let's continue with the takes here. All right, let's go to this one. Here's a powerful one. Okay, so Cameron Serenia, again, hard name to pronounce, saying communism. So basically, this is the couple, guys. This is so devastating. So devastating because they were about to get engaged. They wanted to move to Israel. They were both shot and killed, and one of them died on the scene. One of them died in the hospital, which makes it so difficult for me to even imagine, because one of them, before dying, saw their partner, their love of their life, dead. So it's not just the death, it's also the last minute experiences. Again, hell on earth. So Cameron here is saying communism, the most violent political ideology in history, just claimed 2 more innocent lives. Yaron and Sarah. What the late Oh, what? Oh, Mike. Oh, wait, is this guy from Nufti? Oh, yeah, I like this guy. This guy's from Nufti, Iran. Okay, so what the late Shah of Iran called the unholy alliance of red and black, or communists and Islamists. It's not just communists, I would say any type of far leftism. Like, so even if it doesn't categorize under communism, right? Like wokeism is not necessarily communism, so far leftism, yeah. So, or communists and Islamists continues to terrorize the world, both must be defeated. Yes, the late Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Shah, warned the whole world more than 40 years ago about the alliance between Islam and the left and how toxic it is. And 40 years later, now people are realizing that he was right. He called it 40 years ago, more than 40 years ago. Like, look at this. Rachel, an idiot in the chat called Rachel saying, "Oh, nonsense. Israel is the biggest threat to humanity, far worse than the Nazis." This is an idiotic take. Israel is not the biggest threat to humanity. Israel is the savior of humanity right now, paying the highest cost for standing against both the threat of Islam and leftism, and paying the highest price for it. The whole world, the whole free liberal world, owes a huge debt to Israel, because the Israeli people are paying the highest price, standing between the rest of the world and its greatest enemies. Let's go to, again, JD Vance. I don't see eye to eye with him. I don't know, many times. I mean, I haven't counted, but again, when it's a good take, it's a good take. I don't care where it's coming from. JD Vance is saying, "My heart breaks for Sarah Milgrim and Yaron Lischinsky, who were murdered last night at the Capitol Jewish Museum. Anti-Semitic violence has no place in the United States. We're praying for their families and all of our friends at the Israeli embassy where the two victims work." Well, we need to do a lot more than praying. Praying doesn't solve anything. We need to, for supporting Israelis, we need to do much more than that. Let me see here. Saul is saying, okay, so this is a good thread here to go over. This was I think, a pretty good analysis. Let's actually go through it together. So, again, really good take. Listen to this. What did you all think globalized intifada meant? Vibes, papers, essays? It meant this sweet couple, Yaron Lischinsky and Sarah Milgrim, gunned down at an American Jewish committee event at the Jewish Museum by radicalized monster Elias Rodriguez, chanting "Free, Free Palestine." And then it continues, "We need to know how it came to this. How did Jew hate become so normalized?" I mean, Jew hatred was always normalized in the world, to be honest. "That the killer can be assured of widespread support from certain quarters, and what future awaits what future awaits the Jews in the West. Too long didn't read. It's grim." So actually, let's actually listen to this. This is the moment he was detained. I think this is not the police. This is the security at that location. So this is the attacker. This is the murderer. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! So I'm actually glad that now we could put a terrorist face on this disgusting evil chant, because it's not about freeing the people. It's actually about keeping them in bond. The chant "Free Palestine" is about keeping the so-called Palestinian people in bond, so that you could take advantage of their blood and misery to spread the most violent and anti-Semitic poison out there in the world. And again, him shouting "Free Palestine" connects the movement to the actual reality of it. Basically, it makes us able to put a face on this entire movement. So I hate this man, but it's a good thing that he chanted this, so that people understand what this whole movement means. Okay, again, by the way, it's not just the far left, it's also the far right. That is many. Again, when I say far right, please understand, on this channel I'm not talking about where mainstream media, when it says far right, is talking about actual patriotic people who are trying to defend their country, people who are worried about Islam justifiably, people who are worried about mass migration justifiably. That's when the media says far right. When I say far right, I'm talking about people on the right who are anti-Semitic, mostly that. So, for example, Nick Fuentes here, Saul is saying already voices blaming Jews and Israel rather than the killer, or the people who radicalized him are spreading across the internet. Naturally, the people spreading these lies are the ones who incited such actions. Again, Nicholas Fuentes is saying false flag, right on schedule. There goes free speech and diplomacy. Discussing vile conspiracy theorists. Again, it's a good reminder to know that even though the far left is much more powerful when it comes to spreading its poison, we have to understand that it doesn't just come from the left, it also sometimes comes from the right. Saul continues saying, when Aaron Bushnell set himself on fire outside the Israeli embassy in February 2024, he was when he was hailed as a hero by large parts of the left for his important act. Further violent acts were guaranteed. Yeah, again, and unfortunately, I think that this might be just the beginning. And then Saul continues by saying, when Qatar funded astroturfed protests on campuses across America, started calling for globalize the Intifada. Again, remember when we told you guys in this chat what globalize the Intifada means, and people said, no, you're exaggerating, that's not what it means. Now you see that's actually exactly what it meant. Globalize the Intifada, and the fact that not so coded calls for the murder of Jews were normalized and executed. The murder of Jews became inevitable. Inevitable. Again, sometimes I have a hard time pronouncing. When Qatar bought off every journalist and politicians they could find to ensure they would face no consequences for trying to undermine the USA, violence was assured. Yeah, exactly. Guys. By the way, this murder here today that you saw in Washington, D.C., Qatar funded that. The poison that you see in the far left, that many people are. I mean, what do you think would happen if you constantly try to act like all the Israelis, like the person that was in the chat, like saying Israel is the greatest evil, like the Nazis. If you keep spreading that bullshit, I mean, at some point people think like, oh, so Israelis are like Nazis, then what is the right thing to do, right? I mean, of course people are going to come up with these conclusions. And who is funding the spread of these ideas in the West? It's Qatar. And again, this is why it's bizarre. I mean, it's not bizarre, but it's outrageous for Trump to be so buddy, cozying up with Qatar. I mean, the Qatar is the funder of this attack right now in DC, and Trump is becoming friends with them. Why do you think far left narratives just spread in American universities and media? Because Qatar is funding it. It is because Qatar is funding it. So do you see the reason it's justified to be outraged of Trump becoming so supportive of the Qatari government? Yeah, Nino is saying Trump effed up big time there. Yeah, exactly. By the way, guys, a lot of words here on this live stream are going to be YouTube sensitive, so we're going to get deprioritized. I appreciate if you like the stream so that more people end up seeing this, so it could basically overcome the deprioritization. Again, look at this. Globalize the Intifada. Globalize the Intifada. This is in Western streets. This is Zionist funded. Okay, what the hell? I don't want this. Why is this blue thing here? Go away. Hold on. Yes. This is Zionist funded. This is Qatari funded, and this is spreading everywhere. And again, these people are going to be silent for a while, and this is going to be forgotten. Like, this is going to be forgotten, and then people are going to go back to demonizing Israel very, very soon. Saul is saying, okay, we need to keep these alive. We need to keep the discussion on the pro-Israeli side alive, because the anti-Israeli narrative right now has the upper hand. Unlike when people tell you that, oh, Jews control the media. No, the anti-Semites control the media. The anti-Semites control the media, and they have the upper hand, and we need to do better. Saul here is saying, oh, when just 1 month ago, Governor Josh Shapiro was nearly assassinated, burned alive in his bed on Passover because of his Jewish faith. And this, I mean, I don't think it's his Jewish faith. I think it's his Jewish ethnicity. Because let me tell you, atheists and secular Jews are not free from this attack. So it doesn't matter if you're a religious Jew, a believer Jew, or an atheist Jew, or a secular Jew, you're a target. It's not because of your faith, it's because of your ethnicity. Yeah, Amir from Israel is saying Armin 100%. Yes, exactly. Don't say it's because of their faith. Show me the anti-Semites, the Islamists who check your belief as a Jewish person before they call you out as Nazi or terrorist or worthy of attack. Like, do you think an Islamist, if they wanted to hurt a Jew and a Jewish person, hey, I'm an atheist Jew, I don't believe in Yahweh, do you think they were like, oh, I'm sorry, so you don't believe in the Jewish faith? Like, yeah, I don't actually do. Like, oh, okay, my bad, good on you, I'll go to the next person who actually continues to believe in the religion. Do you think that's how they think? Do you think that's how they think? No, it's all the Jews, regardless of their belief. If you are ethnically Jewish and turn Christian, you're still a target. The only way that your belief could save you is that you are ethnically Jewish and you turn anti-Semite, anti-Israeli, or turn Muslim. But even if you're Muslim, if you're still supporting Israel, that doesn't help. You have to turn Muslim and become anti-Israel. So if you're ethnically Jewish and turn Muslim and still support Israel, that's you being a Muslim is not going to help you one bit. In fact, it might hurt you even more, because they will see you as an infiltrator, or you're basically coming into the Ummah to spread pro-Zionism propaganda. Yeah, the only thing that could save you, actually, being a Muslim or not being a Muslim is not going to make a difference. Being anti-Israeli, that's going to, so you don't even have to turn a Muslim. You could still be a leftist, Jewish, anti-Israeli person, and they would love you for it. You could even here's how I know it's not about the faith. You could be an Orthodox Jewish, extremely religious Jewish person who's very extremely religiously Jewish, and be anti-Israel, and they would love you for it. They will welcome you with open arms, even if you keep the ethnicity, which you can't actually not keep, and you keep the faith. If you are anti-Israel, so it's basically they will actually take you as a token, right? Token Jew in their community, right? So yeah, it's not about the faith; it's about the ethnicity. So and the establishment media buried the story because it didn't benefit the Zionist narrative they shared with the crazed attacker. More such attacks became likely. Yeah, by the way, my guess is right now, the mainstream media is going to condemn this, and it's going to forget it very fast. They're going to come out and condemn it, and they're going to drop it like it never happened, and then move back to their anti-Zionist narratives. And then it continues, when just the day before the attack, endless mainstream media outlets published the obvious lie that Israel was about to kill 14,000 babies. Attacks on Jews became even more inevitable. Why do I have a hard time? Inevitable. Okay, NBC News saying, basically, look at this. Around 14,000 babies could die in the next 48 hours. Yeah, guys, I don't ever know when this is going to be true. Like, I always try to be skeptical. Every time they are I'm not saying every time is wrong, but every time so far they told us that there's going to be a famine and people are going to die from starvation in Gaza. I mean, at least on this channel, we got genuinely worried, and then nothing like that ever happened. Every time they told us it's going to happen. Again, I'm not saying we shouldn't take it seriously every time, because they might be right one of these times. But so far, every time they said that, nothing even remotely close to that has happened. So they say around 14,000 babies could die in the next 48 hours if many more aid trucks do not reach Gaza, the UN's humanitarian chief says. Like, this is like, have you not heard this before many times and it never happened? I mean, I don't do like, have you guys even seen famine like situations? The situation in Gaza never gets close, because I have seen famine like situations in Africa. I fought and in Yemen. Like, I've seen famine in Yemen, which is the result of the work of the Islamic Republic in Iran and Saudi Arabia. But hey, they are Muslims, they're not Jews, so no Jews, no news. They caused famine in Yemen many years ago. That didn't get as much coverage as the non-famine in Gaza being disguised as famine. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I don't understand. Like, you see the famine has visible signs, like real visible signs, and that never happens in Gaza. Maybe one day we need to do a stream on that. The calorie, like, I thought I did reviewed a study on this. The calories moving into Gaza might not be the best, but it's way above famine levels. Anyway, Saul is saying, when a bored college radicalized trust fund kid, Luigi Mangione, decided to become a hero to the left by murdering a CEO, and then actually became a hero to the left with mainstream figures like Taylor Lorenz elevating the murder to the level of folk hero and giving sad young men the idea that doing a Luigi was the way to win women's hearts. More left-wing political murders became inevitable. Okay. And then Saul continues, when the psychotic Kanye West began his campaign of threats against Jews leading up to his latest, oh my God, H song. Again, I'm not going to read that. And so, Hail H, okay, song. And prominent figures on the right, from Candace Owens to Joe Rogan, excused his behavior or even praised him as some free speech hero exposing nefarious Jewish schemes. The likelihood of such attacks approached 100%. Disgusting. Joe Rogan defends Kanye West. HH echoes anti-Semitic stereotype in the song. In song, yeah, okay. So it's saying, when the U.S. media establishment and parts of the Democratic Party elite made Mahmoud Khalil, a degenerate terror supporter, into a cause. I don't know how you pronounce that. This risk to Jews in the U.S. increase. Again, yes. And then you can see the headlines here. Again, so this keeps going on. Oh my God, Hassan Piker here as well. Should I continue? Let me see how many more of these are there. Well, you get the picture, because it keeps going on examples of why attacks like this becomes likely. Anyway, let's actually listen to Netanyahu's response to this attack.
Last night in Washington, something horrific happened. A brutal terrorist shot in cold blood a young, beautiful couple, Yaron Lischinsky and Sarah Milgrim. Yaron had just bought an engagement ring for Sarah. He was planning to give it to her in Jerusalem next week. They were planning to start a new and happy life together. Well, that tragically did not happen. Yaron and Sarah weren't the victims of a random crime. The terrorist who cruelly gunned them down did so for one reason and one reason alone. He wanted to kill Jews. And as he was taken away, he chanted, "Free Palestine." This is exactly the same chant we heard on October 7th. On that day, thousands of terrorists stormed into Israel from Gaza. They beheaded men, they raped women, they burned babies alive. They butchered 1,200 innocent people and took 251 innocent people hostage to the dungeons of Gaza. A short time afterwards, Chancellor Scholz of Germany visited Israel. And after he saw the horrors, he said to me, these Hamas terrorists are exactly like the Nazis. He was right. And if they could get away with it, these Hamas terrorists would have slaughtered every last Jew on earth. For these neo-Nazis, Free Palestine is just today's version of Heil Hitler. They don't want a Palestinian state.
And also Allahu Akbar.
They want to destroy the Jewish state. They want to annihilate the Jewish people who've been in the land of Israel for 3,500 years. I could never understand how this simple truth evades the leaders of France, Britain, Canada, and others. They're now proposing to establish a Palestinian state and reward these murderers with the ultimate prize. Well, for 18 years, we had a de facto Palestinian state. It's called Gaza. And what did we get? Peace? No. We got the most savage slaughter of Jews since the Holocaust. You won't be surprised to learn that Hamas thanked President Macron and Prime Minister Starmer and Carney for demanding that Israel end its war in Gaza immediately. Hamas was right to thank them, because by issuing their demand, replete with a threat of sanctions against Israel, not Hamas, these three leaders effectively said they want Hamas to remain in power. They want Israel to stand down and accept that Hamas's army of mass murderers will survive, rebuild, and repeat the October 7th massacre again and again and again, because that's what Hamas has vowed to do. I say to President Macron, Prime Minister Carney, and Prime Minister Starmer, when mass murderers, rapists, baby killers, and kidnappers thank you, you're on the wrong side of justice. You're on the wrong side of humanity, and you're on the wrong side of history. Now, these leaders may think that they're advancing peace. They're not. They're emboldening Hamas to continue fighting forever. And they give them hope to establish a second Palestinian state from which Hamas will again seek to destroy the Jewish state. And mind you, it's not going to be a state free of Hamas. When you establish a Palestinian state, we've seen it. The radicals take over. Iran sends them in and they take over. So don't give us this talk. It'll be a peaceful Palestinian state. It won't be. But the hypocrisy doesn't stop there. These and other leaders have bought into Hamas's propaganda that says Israel is starving Palestinian children. And not only is Hamas putting out this lie, a few days ago, a top UN official said that 14,000 Palestinian babies would die in 48 hours. You see, many international institutions are complicit in spreading this lie. The press repeats it, the mob believed it, and a young couple is then brutally gunned down in Washington. So here are the facts. Since October 7th, Israel has sent 92,000 aid trucks into Gaza. That's right, 92,000 aid trucks. That includes 1.8 million tons of aid. 1.8 million tons of aid. More than enough food to feed everyone in Gaza.
More than anyone has sent aid into a war zone in the area that is fighting in history. No other country has provided this much, facilitated this much aid to the area that is fighting against, and yet you are the bad ones.
Yet as we had let the aid come in, Hamas stole it. They took a huge chunk for themselves. The rest they sold at exorbitant prices to the Palestinian population. And then they used the money they stole to recruit new terrorists to continue their war against Israel. Our goal from the start was to get food to Palestinian civilians, not to Palestinian terrorists. So we consulted with our American allies. What do we do to prevent Hamas from looting the aid? Well, together we devised a mechanism to achieve this goal. American companies will distribute the food directly to Palestinian families. They'll do so in safe zone secured by our military. And this will allow us to complete our goal of destroying Hamas while enabling aid to reach the civilian population. We'll complete the construction of the first distribution zones in the coming days. Ultimately, we intend to have large safe zones in the south of Gaza, and the Palestinian population will move there for their own safety while we conduct combat in other zones and receive humanitarian aid there without Hamas interference. In the meantime, we authorized letting trucks enter Gaza to provide for immediate needs. Yesterday, I think more than 100 trucks went in. More will come in today. I tell you this, no army in the world has ever gone to such lengths to provide aid to the civilian population in the midst of intense combat. And Hamas, of course, opposes this. It shoots Palestinian civilians who want to leave for safe zones, and it shoots Palestinian civilians who want to prevent Hamas terrorists from looting the aid trucks intended for them. As for the hostages, we'll do every effort to secure them. I'm ready for a temporary ceasefire to get more out, but we demand, and you should demand, that all of our hostages be released and released immediately. And so should every civilized country demand this. We're in an intense seven-front war that was launched against us by Iran and its proxies. Sometimes in war, accidents happen. One such incident happened the other day in Jenin, and thankfully no one was hurt. Our military has expressed its regret over the event because we don't target civilians or diplomats. We target terrorists. Exactly the opposite of Hamas. They target civilians, ours, and they hide behind civilians, theirs. They use them as human shields. That's a double war crime. But I don't hear that coming from any one of those countries that criticize Israel. For those who say that Israel stands alone, I say we're not alone. Justice stands with us. The truth stands with us. History stands with us. And so do countless people around the world who can tell the difference between right and wrong, between good and evil. I want to thank all of them. And I especially want to thank President Trump and the American people for their forthright stand with Israel and with the Jewish people. Together we stand, together we'll triumph, and we'll see the victory of civilization over barbarism.
I hope so. Before I go to, hold on, let me actually put this on the. So we just got a super chat by Amit. Amit is saying, "Hello from Israel. I recommend your channel regularly in live stream, chat, and on expos." Well, thank you so much, Amit, and thank you so much for your super chat. Thank you for supporting the channel. I really appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Thank you for recommending us. Blue was saying, Armin, Yaron Lischinsky attended the Iran conference by Nufti. He supported Reza Pahlavi. Yes, Blue, I know. I'm going to thank you for reminding me. I'm going to show that soon. I have some posts to share about that. Also, before I go to the next conversation about what just happened, I want to, so far, Jewish Samantha is the most active in our live chat. Thank you, Jewish Samantha. And also second place is Purple Pulp. And third place is Pagan Less 4248. Guys, thank you so much for being active in the live chat. I appreciate all of you guys, right? So let's go to let's Brianna here saying, okay, another good take that I wanted to share with you guys. Brianna is saying, I don't need to hear AOC pretend to act horrified about the Jews getting executed in the streets after the AGC event. She's been on the front line of demonizing Jews in this country since October 7th. So have her friends, Ayanna Pressley and Rashida Tlaib. I don't need to hear Chuck Schumer pretend to care either. He told Colombia in back channel to just wait it out and not deal with the domestic terror group operating on their campus. What we need is the Democrat Party to start actually giving a SHIT about American Jews. Here, Marina was saying, okay, so look at this. Oh my gosh, she was beautiful. I mean, both of them, they're such a beautiful couple. Look at this. What a freaking tragedy. This is Sarah. Sarah Milgrim was murdered in DC for being Jewish alongside her boyfriend. He was planning to propose to her next week. He bought a ring. They were both in their 20s, their lives ahead of them. God, what a beautiful couple. Destroyed. Heartbreaking. And then Hen Mazik. Let me see if I follow. Yeah, I do follow. Okay. saying Sarah Milgrim, 26, was a passionate peace activist. Oh my God. She held a master's in international studies from American University and a second master's in natural resources and sustainable development from the United Nations University for Peace. At the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C., she dedicated her work to building a future where Israelis and Palestinians could live side by side in peace and dignity. Wow. Look at this. She was a Zionist that was also wanted a better life for the so-called Palestinian. Look at, why is it like, guys, in October 7th, these freaking terrorists went and killed the main people that wanted to actually have be the cause of a better life for the Palestinians as well, and now here as well. Like, oh, okay. She also volunteered with Tech to Peace, an organization that brings together young Israelis and Palestinians to foster dialogue, understanding, and reconciliation. Unbelievable. What a beautiful person inside and out. When Elias Rodriguez shot her simply because she was Jewish, he murdered not just a bright young woman, but the very kind of person our world so desperately needs, someone working tirelessly to create a more peaceful, just, and a shared future for all. May her memory be a blessing. Guys, again, these are the people, some people in the live chat were calling Nazis. These are what today passes as Nazis, the people who are trying to bring prosperity and peace to all sides. Unfreaking believable. God damn it, man. Oh, actually, I did ask ChatGPT regarding somebody saying to go check what the event was about. Oh yeah, so Sarah and Yaron had just attended a public event focused on the humanitarian situation in Gaza. So the event that they were in was trying to address the situation, the humanitarian situation. These are Israelis going into an Israeli event trying to address the humanitarian situation in Gaza that was held at the Capital Jewish Museum. The event aimed to discuss ways to support this. The guy attacked an event that the goal of the event was to discuss ways to support civilian lives amidst the ongoing conflict, and tragically they were shot minutes after leaving. They were coming from an event about helping civilians in Gaza, and they were murdered by someone shouting "Free Palestine." Oh my God. The Israelis were in that event trying to find a way to help people in Gaza. The person shouting "Free Palestine" was just killed the people trying to find a solution to reduce the misery of people in Gaza. When I say, how many times have I said on this channel that Israelis, Zionists, are the best for people in Gaza? If you want to support people in Gaza, you support Israel. If you want to support more misery, more death, more destruction, more war, more blood, more tears for the people in Gaza, go stand behind people who are shouting "Free Palestine." Is this not a confirmation of that? Is this not a confirmation of that? You're like, look at the idiots in the chat. Somebody's saying Armin is pro-genocide. I mean, how could you say that after seeing what's happening? You are a lost cause. You're such a moron. You see the people, the Zionists, the people you call Nazis, they are the ones who are fighting the people who have taken Gaza hostage. You see the people who are being shot and killed are the people who care for people in Gaza, the Israelis who care for people in Gaza. How is this man who's shouting "Free Palestine"? How is he going to free Palestine? Free Palestine from what? From happiness? from freedom, from peace. How is this going to? Can somebody tell me how do? There are a lot of people supporting this man. How is this going to improve the lives of the people in Gaza? This is absolute. Yeah, Palestine movement in a nutshell, exactly. So the Great Red Menace in the live chat, but thank you for the 10 euro super chat saying, not denying the inner beauty of this couple, but why the F is the left accepting any human's life as acceptable sacrifice, even if they were horrible people, they had the right to life. Yes. Well, actually, if you are attacking, I don't know if I mean, it's true about this example. I don't know if I agree with that as a principle, right? Because sometimes in defending yourself, um, there is collateral damage. Like it's true with these people because these people were a force for good. But again, if Israel is defending itself against terrorists, and it's, I mean, acceptable sacrifice is not how I would word it. A tragic necessity, because every time any nation tries to defend itself, any group of people will try to defend itself, there are going to be innocent lives gone. It's basically you have no option to choose where no innocents die or no civilians die. You have to choose between options where some civilians die and some more civilians will die, and you have to go with the lesser of all evils. But and whatever options you choose, there will be collateral damage. There will be civilian, even if you choose doing nothing, that will have actually probably the most civilian casualty will come from that. But again, the wording, if the wording is acceptable sacrifices, I disagree with that. But if the wording is that, I mean, not with this example, because this should have never happened. But if there are sometimes situations, because I don't want to accept that as a principle, because there are situations where there are tragic sacrifices, tragic costs that you have to pay for avoiding a greater evil. Does that make any sense? Does that make sense? I mean, there is no war without civilian casualties, and sometimes you need war to defend yourself, right? So let's go back to here. So Hillel Fold was saying this psychopath who murdered the 2 staff members of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. tonight will rot in jail, hopefully for life. But he's not the only one guilty here. There were other murderers, Candace Owens, Piers Morgan, every single person who held Hamas and Hezbollah flags in the streets, every person who supported them, every person calling to globalize the intifada, and every single human being who contributed to Jew hatred online by spreading Hamas propaganda and blood libels. You are all guilty and you have blood on your hands. Don't worry, you will be held accountable sooner or later. Words matter. The Holocaust started with words. Words can kill, and we saw that tonight in Washington, D.C., no less. This is a massive red line and red flag to Jews throughout the United States. I mean, to Jews around the world, I would say, but yes. Let's actually look at this monster.
No. Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Yeah. Also, the idiots in the chat who support the whole Palestinian movement, anti-Israeli narratives, or shout free Palestine, you all have blood on your hand. Every single one of you have blood on your hand. Right? It's interesting how the people who are spreading the most disgusting, vile views that are responsible for people dying, for more war, more insecurity, more misery, they are the ones who are calling other people pro-genocide. They're actually promoting an apartheid in the West Bank, an apartheid in Gaza. They're supporting actual imperialism by the Islamic Republic in Iran. They're actually supporting Jew hatred. They're actually supporting hate, and they have the audacity to point at other people and call them pro-genocide. That these people who act like they care about the Palestinian people, they don't give a crap about the Palestinian people. It's actually most of the pro-Israeli people who care about the people living in Gaza. The people who say that they're pro-Palestine, anti-Israel, they want the Palestinians to suffer more because they need that. They rely on the blood and tears of the Palestinian people, of the people in Gaza, for fueling their revolutionary fetish. These are people who have a revolution fetish. They want to pretend like they're revolutionary, like standing up to the man, standing up to great powers. They want to actually get all the positive feelings from being the revolutionaries, but they want to export the misery. They want to outsource the misery and the pain to the people in Gaza. So they want the good feelings of being a revolutionary because they want to be the hero in the story. They want to act like they're heroes that are revolutionaries. But throughout history, people who were revolutionaries, who were heroes or terrorists, they actually paid the price for it. They had their children die. They saw their loved ones die. They see all their lives go away. So they're like, how could I have the positive feelings associated with acting like I'm a hero, but outsource the pain and suffering to these other people in Gaza, right? So that's basically the whole. These are what these Westerners are doing. Many of them, right? Like they get to feel like they came up with this story and they're the hero in the story, but unlike the real stories, they don't pay any of the this is the benefit of having to them. This is the benefit to them of having the people in Gaza suffer. Okay, the suffering for you, the good feelings for me, the good feelings of being a revolutionary. Yeah. So look at this. Nick Sorter is saying, just in, Ilhan Omar refuses to condemn the assassination of Israeli diplomats in D.C. last night. Omar is an Islamic terrorist who needs to be deported back to Somalia. Well, I mean, she's a citizen, so I don't agree with violating the laws of a country, right? So I don't agree with this part. But Ilhan Omar needs to be called out for her refusal of condemning this. I mean, again, guys, when I say she shouldn't be deported, it's not because I'm not against her. I'm against her, but I'm also pro the laws of the country, which means that you have to abide by the constitution, by the laws. I think what we should ask for is for her to lose her seat, for her to stop being a politician. That's what we should be asking for, right? So let's watch her not condemning this.
Congresswoman Omar, can I get your reaction to the shooting that happened in D.C. last night?
I'm gonna go for now.
I'm gonna go for now. Like, can you not just say I condemn that?
I'm gonna go for now, Mark. Couldn't even say condolences for the family.
Congresswoman Omar, can I get your reaction to the shooting that happened in D.C. last night?
I'm gonna go for now.
I'm going to go for now, Mark. Couldn't even say condolences for the family.
Congresswoman.
Yeah, so let me see. Charles is saying here, let me actually follow Charles. Given the tragic news of an Israeli diplomat being killed near the Capitol Jewish Museum after the shooting suspect yelled "Free Palestine," it's important to point out that Ilhan Omar refused to condemn the Hamas flag at anti-Trump protests in DC. So this was from before. The one that I showed you right now, that was more recent, but this is from before. So watch this.
Will you condemn the Hamas flag that was flown outside the U.S. Congress last Saturday during Free Palestine protests?
I condemn the smugglers on your face.
So you don't want to condemn the Hamas flag?
Condemn your smug face.
All right, thank you.
Wow. So can't condemn again. By the way, I misunderstood Loomer's position on many of these things, so I apologize to her for some of the things that I thought her positions were. I appreciate her, basically her media showing this to us, so appreciate that. Yeah, I had a bad take on Loomer before, so I need to remind myself every time to double check these things before I say something like that, right? Nina is saying the creepiest part is that the man met his murderer. The man met his murderer yesterday. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay, so some. By the way, let me actually check here. Community. Yeah, okay. I will respond to some of your comments soon in the chat, but let me actually go to here. So this one, Yaron here is saying, last week I had the pleasure. Oh, this is Yaron. This is Yaron's account. This is Yaron's. I didn't know that. Yaron Lischinsky. That's the man who was shot. Let me see his profile. What does his profile say? Political analyst. Middle East and North Africa, Abraham Accords, normalization, interfaith dialogue, English, Hebrew, German. My opinions are my own. Okay, so interesting. But here, look at this. This is the post that he had in September 2024, saying, last week I had the pleasure of attending Nufti Iran's Iran conference. Fantastic event, great speakers and timely topics. Israel stands with the brave people of Iran. And then he also put the lion and the sun symbol there. And thank you. Okay. And this is Nufti organization, the National Union for Democracy in Iran. Guys, this is an institution that I want you guys to follow. It's also an institution who supports Reza Pahlavi, the crown prince, the son of the former Shah, right? So this is a good organization to follow to figure out the right positions regarding Iran, right? So this the Nufti says Yaron Lischinsky and Sarah Milgrim were gunned down in cold blood. Last year, Yaron attended Nufti's annual Iran conference in solidarity with the Iranian people's fight for freedom. We stand with the Israelis and condemn this attack and the Islamic Republic that fuels this terror. And oh yeah, Emily Schreider, friend of the show, always the best takes. Sharing some of the posts from Yaron, I think, yes, saying Yaron Lischinsky, murdered by a Marxist radical in the name of Palestine, was an ally of the Iranian people and supporter of a free Iran. So let's look at some of his posts. Yeah, that's the one that we just saw. Here's another post by Yaron saying, when Iran is finally free, and that moment will come a lot sooner than people think, everything will be different. Cyrus Accord. So basically, quote tweeting Netanyahu and supporting the Iranian people. Okay, I need to repost this. I also need to repost this. Guys, please share this stream and like the stream. Also, again, Nufti here, National Union for Democracy in Iran. Let's see. There was a. How long is this? Can I go through some of them? Yes. So, saying, well, the Islamic Republic has officially remained silent, and its news agencies neutral on the assassination of 2 Israeli embassy staff last night. Regime-affiliated Telegram channels, journalists, and social media personalities are celebrating the attack. So you can see, oh, god damn it. Like, okay. Where is so Bisimchi Media, a Telegram channel presumably linked to security forces, praised the suspected assailant, Elias Rodriguez, calling him lovely young gentleman and writing, may Allah bless you, warrior, we salute your courage. Absolutely disgusting. And then, see, I mean, the guy is not even a Muslim. As long as you're anti-Israeli, they will celebrate you. Absolutely disgusting. Yeah, people are saying and discussing in the chat. Yeah. And then it continues. In a separate post, the channel noted that one of the victims had attended speeches by Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi and events organized by Nufti, and wrote, "The dumbass used to go to speeches of the prince. No wonder he got killed." Okay. And then IRGC associated Telegram channel Sepah Saibiri framed the killing as retaliation for Yaron Lischinsky's allegedly threatening Houthi leaders with Israeli strikes in response to their missile attack against the Jewish state. The same message was repeated by political analyst Abdullah Genji, who added that Lischinsky was sent to hell. And then Mohammed Tahiri, a journalist with IRGC affiliated Tasneem, prayed, "May there be more of such attacks." Disgusting, vile, disgusting. And then US-based journalist and former IRGC member Akbar Ganji blamed the Israeli intelligence agency Mossad for the murder, describing it as murder to silence domestic and foreign critics. He told his 28K followers on X, never forget that Mossad was and is the most powerful, largest, and most skilled terrorist organization in the world. Mossad is trying to turn the tide of global condemnation of the genocide in a different direction. Always point the finger of blame at Mossad first until proven otherwise. Wow. Basically blame Mossad, whatever happens. I mean, they're saying this themselves. They are saying blame Mossad first until proven otherwise. You don't need any evidence. And then Nufti continues by saying, a so-called reformist social media personality, Amir Tanha, wrote, "They are even willing to kill their own agents on American soil to prevent a nuclear deal." Disgusting takes. Look at the conspiracy theories here. And then a social media influencer close to the clerical establishment with 149,000 followers on X, Omid Nerimani, posted pictures of the alleged assailant and praised them, writing, "Men of Allah are this steadfast and calm after performing their divine duty." Oh, yeah, and basically, look, a lot of people were sharing this because after he killed those two people, he was sitting like this. And a lot of people were comparing him sitting on that chair with Yahya Sinwar, basically putting the Yahya Sinwar's last moment sitting on the chair side by side next to each other as a way to celebrate him. Yeah. By the way, yes, all of these are in Persian, guys, and Nufti is translating them for us. Nufti here says, as an anonymous account with alleged ties to security forces and 234,000 followers on X posted a picture of the assailant and wrote, "The path of Sinwar continues," referring to Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar, a chief architect of the October 7th attacks. Again, posting his picture. Another influencer with 13,000 followers, Muhammad Akbarzadeh, wrote, "What Elias Rodriguez did." Again, YouTube, these are not my views. These are vile, disgusting views by other people that we're trying to highlight on this channel. We're against these. We're against violence on this channel. We are showing how violent, disgusting these people are. We do not endorse any of this. So this Persian post was, the translation is, "What Elias Rodriguez did, killing 2 Israeli embassy employees in Washington, is a natural reaction to the indifference of governments to the regime's brutal killings and genocide in Gaza. Those affiliated with the Zionist regime will not be safe anywhere in the world, and they know this better than anyone. They know this better than anyone." And a so-called investigative journalist close to the reformers. By the way, you have to remember that the reformers in Iran, the so-called reformers, they're actually worse than the hardliners. Okay, don't let the word reformers fool you. Okay, reformers, the so-called reformers in Iran, they're worse They're worse than the hardliners. So an investigative journalist close to the reformist Fatemeh Karim Khan framed the terror attack as retaliation for Israeli soldiers firing shots near a diplomatic delegation in the West Bank. She tried to steer anti-LGBT sentiments to foster support for the attack, writing, hours after the Israeli army opened fire on foreign diplomats in the West Bank, 2 diplomats attached to the Israeli embassy were shot and killed in Washington after visiting a program on LGBTQ plus rights at the Central Jewish Museum in DC. What the hell? Okay, that's her take. Okay, and it continued. Yeah, so that was it actually. And then WiseGuard here also highlighting the Crown Prince of Iran, Reza Pahlavi, honors Yaron Lischinsky and thanks him for his solidarity with the Iranian people. Yaron and his fiancée to be Sarah were murdered last night in Washington D.C. by a communist terrorist for simply being Jews. And here's the statement from Reza Pahlavi, guys. Let me see. I need to. Yes, I have already liked and retweeted this, guys. Please go follow Reza Pahlavi on X if you have an X account. I will link. I will put a link to this specific post if you guys want to go repost it. Go like it, okay? The link is in the chat. Reza Pahlavi saying, on behalf of millions of Iranians, I offer my sincere condolences to the families of Yaron Lischinsky and Sarah Milgrim after their brazen assassination. Guys, for people who are new here, Reza Pahlavi is the main leader that patriotic Iranians are behind as the force against the Islamic Republic. If you want to, anybody who represents the Iranian people, it's not the Iranian regime, it's not the MEK, it's not Nayak, it's not anyone else, it's Reza Pahlavi, okay? Reza Pahlavi is the most popular person, the most popular representative of the Iranian people by a wide margin. And if you want to support the Iranian people, you support Reza Pahlavi, okay? So Reza Pahlavi, so let me actually read this from the beginning. Reza Pahlavi said, on behalf of millions of Iranians, I offer my sincere condolences to the families of Yaron Lischinsky and Sarah Milgrim after their brazen assassination. Yaron was bold and honorable in his solidarity with the people of Iran and their fight for freedom. Today, we stand with Israel and Israel in USA. Our fight is one, a fight against the hate and terror that the Islamic Republic and its allies and affiliates in the unholy alliance of red and black have inspired, fueled and directed for decades. For the sake of our children, from Yaron and Sarah to Puya and Nika, we will win this fight. So, for people who might not understand some of these words, when he says the alliance of red and black, he's referring to the term coined by his father more than 40 years ago. Guys, before many people even understood the idea of the leftist and Islamist alliance. I mean, this became more apparent to people in the West after 9/11. But before that, there was like more than 40 years ago, somebody called Mohammad Reza Shah, which was the father of Reza Pahlavi, was warning the whole world about the alliance of basically leftists and Islamists and its toxic effects. And people didn't take his warning seriously, and that's why the Pahlavi dynasty collapsed and we lost the country to it. And this is what he's referring to, because Mohammad Reza Shah, which was Reza Pahlavi's father, referred to that alliance as the unholy alliance of red and black. Red representing communists, black representing the Islamists. The leftists, red representing leftists, basically black the Islamists. And the reason why red for leftists, because red at that time, the main movement for the left was the communists, which was represented by red. And in Iran, the main movement represented for Islamism were the Shias, which were basically everything Shia is black, right? And also here, saying from Yaron to Sarah to Puya and Nika. So basically, he's mentioning 2 Israeli that have lost their lives to this whole toxic red-black alliance, and then 2 Iranians who were lost as well. So basically means mentioning the Israel guys. Again, this is why I keep mentioning on this channel the key to fighting Islamism, the key to fighting the toxic alliance between leftism and Islamism is the unity of the Iranian people and Israeli people, because they are at the center of the storm, because they see eye to eye, they share the same fight for life, they share the same fight against this cult of death. They're close to each other, and it's basically a survival issue for both of them. And the Iranian people could fight this monster from within, and the Israeli people are fighting this monster from outside. And there's no other two groups of people in the world that are fighting this fight more than the Iranian people and the Israeli people. So it makes sense. It makes sense for them to unite with each other. And again, please remember that you are going to have bad experiences, okay, on both sides. So some Israelis are going to sometimes notice some Iranians with horrible takes, and some Iranians that are going to seem promising at the beginning, and then all of a sudden something happens that they're going to have a bad take, or something happens that they will be disappointed. And then also some Iranians who are now in love with Israel and the Israeli people, sometimes they're going to notice some Israelis who are going to have some bad takes. So, for example, some Israelis who are maybe advocating for dividing Iran into pieces, and they're going to get disappointed and discouraged. But please understand, those are the minorities. All stats and data shows that the majority of the Iranian people are on the right side, and the majority of the Israeli people are on the right side. So don't let the people who you might notice online, just don't let the bad apples give you a bad taste of all the Israeli people, all the Iranian people. Okay, there are people with bad takes in every community of people, but mostly these are the Israeli people, and the Iranian people are mostly people with the right takes, with the right values, with the right ideas, with the right priorities on this on team life, on the side of life. That is the main common traits that they have with each other. And they're also paying the highest cost, and it's also a matter of life and death. It's a matter of survival for both of them. So the stakes are high for both of them. The priorities are the same mostly for both of them. The values are the same mostly for both of them, and it makes sense for them to unite. Again, this is the key to saving not just the Iranian people or the Israeli people, but saving the entirety of the Middle East, and also the positive impacts are for the rest of the world, because the enemies of Israel and the enemies of the Iranian people are not going to stop at the Middle East. They came for Iran, they got Iran. Now they're going to go for the Middle East by destroying Israel. They want to take the Middle East, and then they want to go for the rest of the world. And the Iranian people and the Israeli people are in their way. They're the guards at the wall that is stopping this poison to take over the world. And if you don't believe me that this poison is trying to spread all around the world, this murder, this tragic event that happened last night should wake you up. And if that doesn't wake you up, I don't know what will. I don't know what will. So, and by the way, guys, if you want to support the Iranian people, the best way is to amplify the voice of Reza Pahlavi. Okay. The second best way is to support this channel by liking the stream. Okay. See what I did there? Okay. The second best way is to support Atheist Republic, because we're trying to fight Islamism and wokeism and Marxism, and find all the people that will join us in doing so. And you can support us to grow this channel, but the best way is to support Reza Pahlavi. Okay. Let me actually look at some of your comments in the chat. Oh, by the way, Jewish Samantha, thank you so much. Jewish Samantha, Purple Pulp, and Paganless, you guys are amazing for constantly being active in the chat. I appreciate you guys. And also the people who were give us super chat. Amit, and Great Red Menace. Thank you guys for supporting the show today with your super chats. I appreciate that. Super chats and memberships are really helpful, so I appreciate that. Right, it's a lot. Jewish Samantha saying, "I'm extremely grateful to you for doing this last minute live stream." Yes, I was. I appreciate you saying that. I learned from you guys that I need to do these faster because sometimes I wait a little bit before I cover these things. And I thank you guys for giving me the feedback, because I wasn't going to do a stream today, but then I saw this happening, and I saw you guys feedback that I need to respond to these faster when they happen, if I'm available. And I wasn't going to do a stream on tonight, and I did it. So don't thank me, thank yourself, because you guys, your feedback was very helpful in me realizing that I need to respond faster, because I used to think like maybe I should wait around to see a little bit, but then I realized the importance of responding fast after listening to you guys in the chat. Zurab saying, "This surprises me from Vance. I thought he hated Jews." No, I mean, Vance has some really crazy isolationist views, but he's not anti-Jewish. I don't think so. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Amikai is saying, "Armin, I disagree. Also, the attacks around the world, the cars ramming, the stabbing, and the shooting, and the kidnapping and raping around the Western world, the globalized intifada isn't just against Jews." Oh yeah, no, Jews are just in the way. Yeah, okay, so it's not just against the Jews. I didn't say just. Did I say just? No, but if I did, I take it back. I misspoke. My view is that it's a 3-phase project. Pahlavi first, Zionism and Jews second. The rest of the world is the final boss. Basically, the war is not against just the Jews. The war is against the world liberal order. For a lot of these people, that Zionism and the world liberal order is the same thing, because they think the world liberal order is being manipulated and controlled behind the scenes by the Jews. So for some of them, many of them, that's the same thing anyways. But they see that this is level 2. So this is like the taking down the Pahlavi was the one. So that was the first phase. And Zionism is basically the wall between them and taking out the entirety of the Western order around the world. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with that. Atheist Gamer saying, "Should Trump attempt to isolate Qatar?" Well, he's not gonna. So I don't know if it's even worth saying what he should do. Maybe not be getting so friendly with them. That could be a start. So let me continue your post. If Islamist nations are totally isolated, is there any hope of them getting better? So Qatar is. I didn't necessarily say isolate them, but you need to be pressuring them. You need to be taking positions against them. And you need to not be so friendly with them. You need to make some really strong, not just statements, but policies against their behavior, especially when it comes to their influence in your own country. So isolation works with the Islamic Republic. I mean, I'm pro-isolationism for the Islamic Republic. I'm pro-isolationism with Putin. With Qatar, I would say much harder, stronger positions, much stronger policies, not just statements, basically cutting their entire influence in the West and also punishing them in many different ways. But again, because capitalist principles still apply with Qatar, and it doesn't apply with something like the Islamic Republic, there is a way to also do this without completely isolating them, right? To create an opening for a different behavior. Again, maybe, yeah. I'm not for isolationism unless it's a very unique situation. For example, with with Putin and the Islamic Republic, and even China to some extent. So I'm even though I'm very anti-tariff, when it comes to security and national security issues, tariffs make sense for China. It doesn't make sense for many other countries, but it makes sense for China. But again, it doesn't. But with Qatar, you don't have to, we're so far away from completely isolating Qatar that I don't even know why we're discussing that. How about we just stop being so praising the people who funded October 7th? How about we just stop giving them so much credit and so much leverage? How about we just stop letting them control so much of US's media and US's education system? How about we start with that, and then we could talk about how about we stop rewarding them before we even start discussing how we could punish them? Like, we're so far away from that, that I don't even know why we should even discuss that. Saying what amazes me is the intifada in Israel Palestine only made the lives of Palestinians worse. I mean, yeah, every single time. Yet now globalize it. It is crazy. Keep doing what does not work over and over. Stupidity. I mean, here's the thing, let me tell you why that's not crazy. Because that's the point. That is the point. The point of this movement is not to better the lives of the Palestinian people. The whole point is to use. Why would you remove the thing that is fueling your movement? The suffering of the Palestinian people is the gasoline that runs this machine. Of course, the thing that stops it is not going to be the winning strategy. Does that make sense? So yeah, it's evil. It makes sense if you think it's evil. It's not crazy. It's evil. Let's look at the community. Okay. James is saying this is happening because people like Trump have been supporting extreme Islam in Syria. People like Trump have been supporting extreme Islam in Syria. I mean, there's a lot of things Trump is supporting that I do not like. For example, supporting Qatar, and also seeming to wanting to go easy on the Islamic Republic. But I don't know where this is coming from. Supporting. I mean, he did just recently supported Giuliani, but this just happened. I mean, the negative effects of that, if we're gonna see negative effects from that hasn't materialized yet. So I don't know what it is, which of Trump's policies, again, maybe guys, do you know what this is referring to? I don't know what this is referring to. When did Trump support Islam in Syria? Am I missing something here, guys? If you guys are seeing Giuliani, that just happened. How is that? How is this what we're seeing as a result of that? I don't think you could connect the dot. If we're going to see any negative effects from that, we have to wait a little bit for that to happen. Like, it's not going to be this immediate. Artax is saying, why Israel complaining about its diplomat being taken out? Wow. Didn't they set the precedent murdering diplomats in Lebanon, Iran, UAE, and recently shot at foreign diplomats in the West Bank? First of all, those are the people that you're calling diplomats. They were people that were actively planning terrorist attacks on Israel and Israeli civilians and Jewish people around the world. These are the people you're referring to. Many of these operations minutes or hours before the attacks taking place. For example, the ones that I'm aware of when it comes to Iran or the regime in Iran's so-called diplomats, every time there was an assassination happen, that diplomat was using its diplomatic status as a way to move funds and sometimes even explosives to terrorists to bomb civilians in Europe. And sometimes they were taken out or arrested or exposed by Israel. So every time Israel did that, they saved civilian lives. Look how stupid you are. You're comparing that to two diplomats, and you're like, you're saying they shouldn't complain. The two beautiful people who wanted peace, not just for the Israeli people, but also people in Gaza were taking it out. And you look at how evil and monstrous you are. They're like, oh, why are people complaining about that? And look at your false analogy. These two people who wanted the best lives for not just people in Israel, but also people in Gaza, they were murdered. And you're comparing this to so-called diplomats that were planning terrorist attacks. What a vile, disgusting human you are. And you're here calling other people genocide supporters. And look in the mirror. You're a disgusting human being. Also, I just want to thank the top active people in the chat. So right now, Amikai, am I reading your name right? Every time I keep reading your name, I never got around to trying to pronounce it properly. Is the main active person in the chat. Thank you so much for that. Tenebris number 2, and Autumn's 30 number 3. Oh, Amir is number 4. Thank you guys. Nina, John, you guys are amazing. Blue, thank you guys for supporting us in the chat. Also, let me see. Yeah. And once again, I want to thank the people who gave us super chats today, Amit and Great Red Menace. Appreciate you guys for supporting the show. Guys, you could also support the show. I mean, you could, memberships, becoming a member on this channel really helps this channel grow. Atheist Republic on YouTube. Also, super chats really will help us out. But there's also free ways to support the channel. One of them will cost you half a second, which is liking the stream. The other ones might cost you more time, but they don't cost you money. The other one might cost you 5 seconds, which is after the show is over, leaving a comment, subscribing, hitting the bell notification. Maximum support that doesn't cost you any money will be to recommend the Atheist Republic YouTube channel to as many people as you can. Again, it doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps this channel grow. And Anti-Islam in the chat saying, thank you, everyone, and thank you, Armin, for this live stream. Well, thank you. And Amir in the chat is saying, Atheist Republic, the best channel for Middle East geopolitics and religion analysis. Amir, you always say that in the channel, in the live chat, and I always appreciate that. It really means a lot that you say that in the chat. Thank you. Oh, Jewish Samantha in the chat saying the shooter, again, I haven't confirmed this, but maybe I could talk about it next time if it's true. But Jewish Samantha in the chat saying the shooter, Elias Rodriguez, was a member of Party for Socialism and Liberation Chicago. Really? Wow, that is good to know. Thank you, Jewish Samantha. I will look that up. Thank you. And Muhammad saying thank you, Armin. Sam supporting us. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, James, you're welcome. I appreciate you guys. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go. Share the stream. Thank you. And also thank you to Ayatollah Mother Coffee. Again, people, that's a Persian joke. Ayatollah Mother Coffee. Thank you for starting the comments for me to read. Again, you came here last minute notice as a volunteer. I appreciate it. And also the admins in the chat. I appreciate all of you guys. All right, guys. Bye.